Hello everyone, it's Dravot here, and I just wanted to make this quick video here real quick, kind of discuss kind of where Blizzard got everything wrong. And I know you've seen videos like this before. We all think we know what the problem is. Everybody has their opinion, but I want to give my own because I don't know if anybody's actually mentioned this once. You know, I don't hear this talked about a lot. The change that was made was popular at the time, and I think everybody just kind of forgot, right? They forgot that the change took place. I was playing Classic the other day, and it really just made me think uh, about what I enjoyed about the game when I first started playing. Um, right now, 8.2 is out. Everybody's having fun. There's a lot of work to do. We're grinding Mechagon. We're getting our pearls in Najatar. The raid's out. We're raiding. But eventually, whatever level you play at, the raid's going to be done. And once we knock down Ashara, we're kind of finished until the next patch or new content comes out. And this has kind of been a pattern that's been predictable here for a while, right? You finish the raid at whatever level it is, right? Finish the raid and then you're done and you're bored. And, you mount farm, transmog farm, you play another game until something else comes out. That's kind of how all of this works. And a lot of us, I think, at this point can agree that when you go back to Cataclysm, that's when a lot of the changes that were made kind of started digressing the game, I guess you'd say, and things started going farther and farther. It's just been a downward slide since then. It's been hard for Blizzard to recover and figure out how to fix the problem. People will say flying was the problem. But, they had flying in BC and Wrath of the Lich King, and there wasn't a problem, right? A great number of people will say talent trees are the problem. And you know what? I am not going to argue too much against that. It's probably a big problem. It's probably a big deal. It might be the issue, but I have my own opinion on this, and it's not going to be a popular opinion, not by any means. But I think it's the weapon skills, right? The weapon skills, the defense skills. It offers a level of progression, a constant progression, right? Until you mix it out at at whatever level you're at, whatever 5 points you get per level. But most of the time you don't do that, and if you do, there's still enough in there to keep you going. But it seems like you're always progressing your character, and that's even without the talent points every level, right? Now I agree we probably need to have something to do every 10 levels or so, but that's not part of this discussion, right? I just kind of want to, find out what I believe the core problem was here, as far as, where Blizzard started to get things wrong. And I'm going on memory here, but I know this change came in. I don't know if it was for Cataclysm, but for some reason, I believe it came in before Cataclysm, like before the Cataclysm patch. Because let me tell you a story. I kind of remember this distinctly. And for some reason, I want to say this was before Cataclysm. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I didn't get to play that much when I was, when Wrath of the Lich King was out. I was working, I was in school, and I made as much time for WoW as I could, right? So the best thing for me to do at the time, which is still something I still love to do today, right, is I would play PvP Battlegrounds. I just queue up, do the Battleground, and it doesn't matter if I was earning anything or not, right? I was always earning honor at the very least, right? I was grinding honor out. So, in the end, it just... Oh, it's raining. Good. These aren't elites. Sorry. Just notice that. That's good. Back to the point I am. So, it didn't matter. I was just grinding honor, and it was good. And you would get your gear, right? You get your gear. They were purple, so they were good. I love that. I didn't really raid much. I think the only raid I did in Wrath of the Lich King was a Max Ramus one, and which quarter was that? This is the one with the dog, right? So the Constructs quarter, or whatever, the one with Thaddeus at the end. And I went in with my hunter, and the only reason they wanted me was to kite zombies where the dog go, okay? And it was, PvP hunter. I was made for that. That was perfect. That's all they wanted me for anyways. So that's good. It's really the only raid I did in it was a pug and Wrath of the Lich King. But I digress. Back to the point at hand. So I had some time off of school, right? And only thing taking up my time was work, which is still quite a bit, right? I had to try to make a little extra money while I wasn't in school. So, pick up a few more hours of work. But I had a little extra time for a while. And BGs were getting kind of monotonous. And so I'm like, I'm going to just take the time. I'm going to level up all of my weapon skills. And I went through, got my hunter done. I was working on my druid, not this druid, it was a Tauren druid at the time. But I decided working on my druid and figured, worked a little bit on him and figured it's a waste of time. It's just a stat stick for him. He was a healer, so didn't really make that big of a difference. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and do my warrior. When I decided to do my warrior, I went through, there you go. I changed my talents. I got that Titan grip so I could have two-handed weapons, one in each hand. I had a mace and a sword. I was going to just level both of those up. Went to the auction house, got some cheap weapons, and flew over to, what's that called? Agmar's Hammer, I think it's called in Northland. Jumped outside the gates, started wailing away on some deer, and I noticed I was hitting them. And again, I don't know exactly when this change went out, but it was kind of like right when I decided to start leveling up my weapon skills, right? Because I remember I got my hunter done, I was working on my druid a little, and then I just decided that wasn't worth it. So then the next time I decided, I'm going to do my warrior. And started wailing away on this deer, and I was actually hitting him, especially with my mace, because I've never really used two-handed maces. And, I had to kill like 2 or 3 deer before I opened up the tab, right? And I opened up the tab, and lo and behold, there are no weapon skills there. And I have to admit, I was kind of salty, kind of pissed, right? Because I had to go back and change all my talents back, right? I didn't really like playing gear. I liked playing arms at the time. Don't really play warrior at all anymore, but at the time in Wrath, I had a lot of fun with my warrior. So that's just kind of a little story as to when I noticed the change and how that affected me, and kind of how I was wondering, what the hell is Blizzard doing to my game? That's the first time I was really like, what the hell is Blizzard doing to me here, right? And right then I didn't like the change, and it was a popular change at the time. I understand it's probably still a popular change. I know a lot of people don't like this. A lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but this is kind of how I feel. And let me go ahead and make my argument here before you stop watching. I have a valid point to make, and it starts here. It's a 12-year-old Dravot sitting at the kitchen table, right? There's pencils, erasers, dice just littering the table. We're sitting there, we have our sheets with all of our numbers on them, and we roll the dice, we look at the dice, we check our sheets, we do the math, and we succeed or we fail. D&D is the core to any MMORPG, in my opinion, right? And the farther away you move from that pencil and paper, D&D, rolling the dice, the farther away you move from a good MMORPG. I'm not saying you can't have one without it, but if you want to make it good, you have to stick to that like core value, right? The thing that I believe makes an MMORPG an MMORPG. So that's really my main argument here as to why I think the weapon skills and the defense skill very important. We don't want to forget that. That's kind of often set to the wayside. But you know, as to where things really started going downhill. Now I understand talent trees are arguably probably just as bad, if not worse. But this is kind of overlooked because it was popular at the time. Uh, People probably look back at that and go, "Oh man, I'm glad I don't have to, you know, go level up my weapon skill when I get a sword drop anymore." You know, it's a bit of a ball ache. But when you think back to it, it wasn't that much of a ball ache, right? Even if you had like zero weapon skill for whatever you're doing. Like for me, at the time I was gonna level up my two-handed maces. I had probably almost never used two-handed maces, right? Hardly at all. That's why I was surprised initially when I got a hit. I'm like, what's going on, right? Uh, but that was the whole point. You could go to a high level mob. I didn't want to do max level at the time because I'm a warrior. Didn't want to. We had some self healing in Lich King. I want to say. I can't remember what it was called at the time, but we had a little bit. But I just wanted to whack away on high level characters, you know, but not too high. I wanted to be able to kind of, you know, power through, especially as low level as the weapons I was working with. I was going to get weapon skill as I got to like, you know, the higher levels that I needed. I can't remember what the max was then, right? But the higher levels that I needed, I would have gone to like max level mobs and really started working to try to get to that max level thing because it gets harder and harder at the end. It gets progressively harder, which is also an argument for it, in my opinion. I know people don't like it. But again, back to the ball ache thing. It wasn't that much of a ball ache. You whack away at a high level mob for like, you know, or high level mobs for I don't know, it didn't take that long, in my opinion. Now, maxing it out to the max, you didn't have to do that, right? That was your choice. And eventually, just through regular gameplay, if that's the weapon you wanted to use, you're going to max it out. I understand the min maxers and the raiders and all of that, but I think there's like I read now because well, that's the only content that is there is right in mythic dungeons and raiding, but and well PvP. I don't want to discount PvP, but PvP was my game anyway, so that's not really changing much. It's just now I actually raid and do mythic dungeons. Kind of have to also have good gear for PvP the way it works now. Whole nother video again. But back to it. I didn't. It's that was my game. You had different adventures back then. You didn't have to do them, you know, all the things. You could do your own thing in the game, and I just kind of miss that. Even though now the way I play the game, I would still do the raids and all that stuff just because it's something I enjoy doing now. At the time, I didn't feel like I needed to or like I had to. I could just play the game. I wanted to play the game instead of being dictated as to what I should be doing in the game. And I, I think weapon skills was the beginning of that. That's just kind of my opinion. I, I'm sure it's wrong. I'm sure many of you disagree, and you can always, you know, in the comments down below, let me know how wrong I am. And you know, if you want to argue talent trees, I'm not going to argue with you that much. You're probably right. I got disconnected. You're probably right. Uh, no, well, let's just switch here. And I'm gonna disagree with you all of that much. And I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of hate for wanting this back in the game. But in the end, I hope you all enjoyed this video, right? I really hope you enjoyed this. I know you probably don't agree with my opinion, but I hope you kind of agree with, you know, what an MMORPG is and kind of how we have to have other ways to progress our characters. The progression should be like throughout the whole process and not just in-game progression. Because there's always that treadmill of get more gear, kill a boss, so you could get better gear to kill bigger boss, get better gear, kill better boss. It's an endless, unenjoyable process in my opinion, right? It's just like constant treadmill that we're on. Where before it didn't seem like a treadmill. I was doing my own adventures and progressing my character the way I wanted instead of being pigeonholed into something that's more linear instead of more open world. I I, I, I guess designers just want that in the game now. I just kind of wish that they didn't. Um, so if that's my opinion. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this video and give it a like if you liked it and a dislike if you didn't. And if you dislike it, just subscribe anyways because I'd really like your help here. I also do streaming. You could find me at Twitch TV/Dravot, right? Twitch.tv/Dravot. I do some streaming, mostly on weeknights, right after work. And all of that being said, bye.